This is the book that I've written, and it's the one that is the basis of the teachings that we're talking about today. Healing and the Creative Response, and it's a book plus a CD, and the CD is in the back, and it's not merely a reading of the book, but it's more information. And the book is, it's an explanation of the 4 steps which I have discussed, and which are a very vital part of the program. Another book which I've written is The Intuitive Career, and this book plus the workbooks and CDs that go with it have a lot to do with the different careers that we're talking about and how to move through the various stages of any career that uses intuition. I have parsed out 5 stages of any particular career. But before we get into the actual application, discussing how to apply these things, let's talk a little bit about what intuition is. Because maybe you have a question about intuition itself. So it's first of all natural. And if anybody here might feel that it's something that is only for a few gifted people, that's just not the case. It's very much like musical ability or athletic ability or artistic ability. You might find that in some families there are more people who are relying on intuition or are teaching their children about it, as in my family, where I was taught from the time I was little. It was just a natural part of the family. But that's just saying it's okay to use it, and we believe in it, and it is fine. But I believe that everybody sitting in this room has natural intuitive ability, natural knowing, and natural healing abilities as well. So it's not something that is just a unique gift just for a few people. It also should be, if it's practiced correctly in the way we practice it here at the Healing Arts Connection, it's fun, it's playful. If it isn't that way, if it becomes a work or draining or something which is effort, it's not as productive. You won't want to do it as often. You won't want to use it as often. It won't be a natural part of your routine if it's more of a burden, like, oh, gee, now I've got to be intuitive. No. So what I do is I show it like this. Rather than developing intuition being this, and I'm going to work real hard, and I'm going to think of something intuitive, it's more like I'm going to open and relax. And when I open and relax, it's just a natural part of life, a natural part of knowing, a natural part of being. You can enhance it, and the 4 steps that I've described, and we go over and over again, help to form habits of enhancement. But it's not like we're working harder and harder and harder. So, of course, it's all around us in all aspects. And of course, creative. Part of the intuitive pathway involves working with our creativity. So we actually have techniques that we use in the program for creative writing, either poetry or prose, or other aspects of creativity like painting, pottery, anything, and creative sales. If you're a salesperson, you could work with creative sales, how to stimulate your business, how to grow your business, creative relationships. Wouldn't that be wonderful? How to improve your intuition, to improve the communication between yourself and your loved ones, or your animals. Anybody here a pet owner? Anybody here? Okay, or does a pet own you? That's probably a more appropriate question. To improve your connection with other species, the dogs, cats, and other tame animals, but the wild animals as well, or even those who might come to this area from other galaxies. We just don't know. So it's creative, and it's not always predictable, logical, or linear. It can jump all around. We're talking about this natural way of knowing, this intuitive way of knowing. Now, logic is wonderful. Logic is desirable. We certainly don't want to throw logic out the window. I'm not saying that intuition doesn't use logic, doesn't build on logic. It certainly does. But it doesn't have to be stuck in that rigid, logical sequence of thought. So often what happens is intuition skips over steps of logic. As long as what it gets to is a measurable result, something that's valid, something that can be accurately assessed, we definitely want to be able to have accurate feedback and assessment. So it's useful. It's useful. How might it be useful? For example, have you ever found yourself changing the route that you travel every day? Perhaps deciding to go a different way, maybe a little out of your way, going back home from work or somewhere, and then listen on the radio and discover there was a bad automobile accident that you just avoided. That's using your intuition to avoid difficulty. Perhaps people might call that being lucky. And I don't really believe in the concept of luck. I believe in the concept of using intuition and being in the right place at the right time, because at some deep level, we are following our deeper, nonlinear, spontaneous inner knowing that's bubbling up to the surface. Well, how can we be sure? You be sure because you follow the 4 steps. And once you follow the 4 steps and you apply the first step, which is to set your intention to always be in alignment with the highest good, to always be in alignment with your intuition, as long as it's that which is your business and something you can do something about and something that's in your highest good, you're not going to go wrong. And when you do that, you can trust even the events that happen in your life that might not seem to be those that you would have wanted to happen. You can say, well, I set my intention for the highest good and this didn't work out the way I thought it would work out, but there has to be a higher level of good here. So we talk about that. We talk about how to use this. And I describe what I call the butterfly thoughts. These are the thoughts that come through your mind so lightly, just like a butterfly might. They land on your mind like a butterfly landing on your finger. And you know how heavy that would be. And the butterfly lands on your finger and that thought lands on your mind and then you want to catch it. It flutters away. But in this class we talk about how, in this program, how to be aware of those butterfly thoughts. And also how to be aware of the elephant thoughts. Those thoughts that come through our mind, and they're there, and they're constantly tearing us down, or they're constantly undermining us, and really not our friends, but they're all from our same mind. So we're talking about the elephant thoughts, the butterfly thoughts, and how to emphasize the positive, how to emphasize those that build ourselves up, how to foster them, how to make them more of a habit. So intuition becomes a very positive habit. Before we go any further, I just want to mention what it is not, because this is a program which, some of the words that we use, even the word intuition, is misunderstood today. So this is not a program in fortune telling. We describe fortune telling. Fortune telling is essentially predicting something that might happen in the future before it happens, called divination. That is something that one might do, but with great practice. I am not suggesting that one do it here, although we will certainly talk about it. We're going to talk about scrying, we're going to talk about dowsing, we're going to be talking about using our intuition to get inside of people's bodies, using something that's modified form of remote viewing or clairvoyance, but not to move into the future so much. So it is not fortune telling, and it isn't magical thinking.